Hey, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. How is everyone doing? I hope you guys are doing well. It's your brother Muhammad here. So in this video, I wanted to talk about what did I learn from making $40,000 in the year of 2018, 40,000 plus, a little bit more, 45,000, something like this. Now it wasn't 40,000 is around, like, if you divide it, it might be something like 3,000 to 3,500 a month or something like this. Now there was like fluctuations and stuff. Like every, like the month of May, for example, was 7,000. Then another month it was 4,000. Then another month it was 2,000. But it never went lower than 2,000. And all of this was from online businesses, like, for many different things that I did. Now, one problem that I had, and we are going to be talking about this, I'm going to share the screen with you guys, and I'm going to tell you three main things that I've learned from this, that I have learned from making $40,000 in all together in this year, in 2018. But one thing that I wanted to mention is that it was from many different sources of income. Okay, so I could say that this 2018 was like my first year into serious all in business focus kind of thing, because it's true that I had already a little bit the mindset of an entrepreneur and the willing of it, because when I was 16, for example, when I was living in Paris, me and some other friends, we started a dropshipping business. Now, obviously, dropshipping wasn't exactly like the known dropshipping nowadays. It was more as in we used to buy shoes in China and bring them to friends, and then we will send them to people through like we will get in contact through people who sell them online. And we'll ship them to them in between, France, Switzerland, Spain, and whatnot. Then from there, when I was in Paris, then I came back to Spain, and obviously when you're young, you don't have many responsibilities, so you don't think much about, like, I need to start making money. So it was more as in, yeah, it's cool, I'm making money, so. I've made I've made money as well in those times, like my 16th, 17th, in other ways as well, which were in, like, basically halal, which weren't accepted by the Islamic teachings, which we don't need to mention. And then when I became like about 16, 17, I started practicing Islam and whatnot, and I left to Egypt to study Quran and Arabic. So when I was the first 2 years, I had a really good support from my family. So I wasn't really focusing on making money. Then on the third year, I started thinking about ways of making money there. How could I make money from my laptop, basically? So I always had this, like, laptop lifestyle, how to make money online, how, like, I knew there was people that I kept seeing around me that were in Egypt as well for many years. Like, I'm talking about 15 years, 20 years, and never went back to their countries, like as in America and whatnot. And I really believed in, like, I knew it was possible. So in my mind it was like, okay, there has to be a way. And at that time I started a little quote unquote company, which was like a service-based company where we used to receive people from other countries and help them accommodate in Egypt, because by then I already spoke the language of the country, and I was pretty much comfortable with people. So people, they will see me. It's really known in Egypt, like, if you live there, I mean, if you are not from there and you try to get anything there, like rent an apartment or anything, you probably get higher prices. But because I was there already for like 2 to 3 years, it was easier for me to, like, get the actual prices, right? So we would use those skills and basically go ahead and create this kind of service-based company, which was me helping students accommodate when they were coming. So different things like this as well. Like then I even went and learned how to sew clothing, as in jilbabs and sarawil, so I could sell them. So I always had this like mentality, like how I'm going to make money online and whatnot. And late 2017, I started investing into retail arbitrage. So I was selling on Amazon, doing retail arbitrage, and then I went into private labeling, and then from private labeling, that was more like in the beginning of 2018. I started trying things, because throughout my whole life I tried things, and this is the best way how I learn. Like I'd rather fail at something and know why did I fail, and take away the experience and keep it with me, than actually just listening to someone and not doing it because it didn't work well for them or whatever it might be. Because most of the times, most of the things out there, it works. It's just that people lack of mindset and lack of discipline to go ahead and make that thing work, basically. So, and it's funny because at one point, looking at really successful entrepreneurs, I was like, they kind of look like more mature. They look like, most of them, they behave like Muslims, basically. Like they have, good, they are disciplined, basically. They control themselves and whatnot. So I knew that it was mindset, mainly going to masterminds and paying big amounts to go to some of my mentors' mastermind. Paying $4,000 to go into his house and see, like, from the insides, what do they do different that I'm not doing. And most of the times it was mindset. It was just discipline. So let's talk about a little bit about mindset. So inside of mindset, obviously there is many different things that you have to have in order for you to be successful, basically. But one of the main ones, it was persistence. The ones that I've seen that everyone has who is successful is persistence into one single thing. So one of the most common reasons of failure is the habit of quitting. When one is overtaken by temporary defeat, before success comes in any person's life, there has to be temporary defeats and perhaps some failure. And the thing is that, as humans, we know this, but it's just that it's hard to remind yourself when this happens. Like the most common thing and the most logical thing and easiest thing is just quit and go into the next thing, or the most safest thing, which would be a 9-to-5 job, or just doing nothing, basically, or just being happy with what you have already. So the safe path, right? So when defeat overtakes a human, the easiest and most logical thing to do is quit. The only way to solve this is learning how to control your mind. Because, like, if I tell you right now, you probably be like, yeah, I know that. But what happens is that you will say, I know this right now, and then you are going to sleep, and you might even be pumped right now to start into entrepreneurship and whatnot, because you see, what is possible, and 40,000, that's a good amount of money from your laptop, made from your laptop, with businesses that I didn't even, put in that much money to start. So yeah, right now, tomorrow you might be pumped right now. Tomorrow you might start something, and once you get to the temporary defeats, and this is something that is going to happen, like 100%, it's not always, nice. Entrepreneurship is harsh, is about hardship. Like, you need to be ready for this. So once you find these things, you have to be persistent into one thing in order for it to work, and you have to try and fail until you win. But it's easier for your body to just drop it and quit, instead of forcing yourself mentally to tell your mind, no, you're going to keep doing this until it works. And once you are able to control your mind, you get to the point where you are able to do things that logically you know it's right for you, but emotionally you don't feel like doing, basically. So if you're able to get to the point where you control your mind logically instead of emotionally, there's no way why you shouldn't be successful. So this is one of the main things that I took away from the mindset. And like I said, when you look at successful entrepreneurs, you might see Muslim behaviors in them, even though they are not Muslim. And the funny thing is that even in main books that entrepreneurs are advised to read, like for example for mindset, for example, like Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, you will see that Napoleon Hill, he comes up with stories from the Muslim story, like when Tariq ibn Ziyad came to Spain to conquer the land of Al-Andalus, of the Spanish peninsula, basically, and he came with his soldiers and he burned the boats in a way to say, okay, now we are here. There's no way back, and we need to fight. Like, when you force yourself, when you put your, stories like this is the ones that Napoleon Hill uses, or he even have, at the end a chapter of the last great prophet, which is the Prophet Muhammad. So, like us Muslims, is sad that we don't take from the Quran and from the Sunnah these stories in order for us to become more successful into the materialistic matters. So as you can see here in Surah Nazi'at, from verse 37 to 41, Allah says, and you probably, if I'm mentioning in Arabic, you probably know which one I'm talking about, but Allah says, then for him who transgressed all bounds, meaning like in disbelief, oppression, and evil deeds, and preferred the life of this world, the dunya, verily his end will be hellfire. But as for him who feared standing before his Lord, meaning who feared the last day, the day of judgment, and restrain himself from bad desires, verily paradise will be his abode, or his last stay, basically, where he will live. And this ayah, you guys probably know in Surah Nazi'at, when Allah says, وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَى. This is the ayah that I'm referring to, where Allah says, وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَى, and He prohibited his nafs, his soul, his desires from the hawa, from the passions, he prohibited his nafs, which is the soul, your spirit, basically, from your desires and your passions. So this is a concept that we already have in the Quran. We already have as Muslims, is that to learn how to control your desires, to learn how to control what you feel like getting, or you feel like doing, or you feel like eating, or you feel like going to, but logically it's not good for you. So not only if you achieve this in life, you're going to become a better person, you are going to become able to do what a lot of people are not able to do, that if you achieve, you are going to be able to do many things. Because if you achieve this little thing, you can literally achieve anything in life. Like, you can, by controlling your mind, you can do many things. And you are going to be successful in life, basically. This is why the more you understand about life, the more you understand how you work as a human, how your mind works, and you understand the the Quran and the Sunnah, and you take these teachings from it and you listen to the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad, there is no way why you cannot be successful at anything you want in life. And in this case, at making money basically, or making money online. So another thing that I took away from mindset is focus. That if you focus basically, you are going to be really good at what you do, and you are going to make it work as long as is logically workable basically. So as Bruce Lee said, I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. So from this you can take as well that not only focus is really important, but it's really important to focus on one single thing, and one single thing that you want to achieve. And this something that I've learned as well, along my years of just living and studying as well in Egypt. Like me, for example, throughout my whole life, I have had a lot of opportunities when it comes to basketball, for example, and I always ended up doing something else like skateboard or dancing, and living what I was good at, to do things that I liked to do, that my desires like to do. But logically, I knew that this was more, logical for me to stay with. And at the end of the day, I didn't achieve what I wanted to achieve, which was becoming a professional basketball player. But however, for example, when I went to Egypt, there was a known discussion that would happen in between brothers, is that, what should we do? Should we just go to study and balance in between Quran, balance in between Hadith, Mutun, university, Arabic, or should we just pick one thing, do it for 1-2 years, do another thing, do it for 1-2 years? And what I did is, the first year I did Arabic, second year I did Quran, and third year I was doing basically throughout the last few years, it was more Quran than anything basically. It was 1 year, it was more about knowledge and getting Mutun and memorizing Mutun. But I've seen that when you focus on one thing, you get more done basically, instead of being multitasking basically, and giving your energy to many different things. So for example, another interesting fact is that the first year that I went to Egypt, I didn't have a iPhone or a Android or anything like this. I had like those really messed up phones that cost less than $50 just to receive calls and message my wife, right? So I remember that year I've learned Arabic in 10 months, quicker than anyone else in around me in the class. After 10 months, I was already reading, speaking, understanding khutab, and I was able to accomplish a lot more. I even memorized usul al-thalatha, qawaid al-arba, matun al-ajurumiyya, and few other things. And I remember that year as being the most productive in terms of knowledge years of my life. But then later on, I started doing a little bit of business and whatnot, and I had a phone, which is not an excuse, but I had a phone, an iPhone, and I was so not productive and so not accomplishing things. So one thing that I wanted to talk about is focus in one thing, in this case in one business. So you guys see this picture where you have a bunch of buffaloes. Look at the difference. When you look at this picture, if you were a lion, right, and you was about to, and you hunting for your food basically. Look at if you are a lion and you're looking around all of these different foods and all of these different buffaloes. Look at the difference when you look like this and you just focus on one and you just go towards one thing. Look how it changes. Like your attention span and your attention vision, it goes from looking at all of these people or all of these buffaloes to looking at one strict one basically. And this, if you look animal documentaries, you will see that sometimes, younger lions, they don't catch nothing because they're just trying to catch one instead of fixing one and going towards it. Whatever happens next to it, even if another buffalo gets really close, they keep chasing the one that they fixed themselves that they were to chase in the beginning. And you will see that eventually those are the best hunters. But when it comes to what do I say this is because, as I was saying in the beginning of the year, I was basically chasing or focusing on a lot of things and a lot of different business models, and I was trying to make, because I was listening to this, like, yeah, the average millionaire have 7 streams of income. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna have 7 streams of income, but the reality is that you first have to focus on one thing, make it work, and then you will think about different streams of income. So focusing on one thing, it was really important to me. And another teaching that we can take from the Sunnah and apply it to this is when the Prophet ﷺ, he said, "Inna Allah yuhibbu idha amila ahadukum amalan an yutqinahu." So the Prophet ﷺ, he said that Allah loves when any of you does something, he performs it on a perfect manner, or in a perfect manner. Basically, I think I did a mistake here, but Allah loves the servant that does something and does it really good, and even if that's the only thing that he does. So even this concept, which is logical, we can find it in the Sunnah of the beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So focusing on one single thing is really important. Now, one thing that I wanted to mention is, if you take the example of me having this crappy phone in the first year of the first year, I believe that if you want to focus on whatever you need to do, you are a human. You are going to be distracted. But the best way to focus is to look at, really analyze, like sit down and talk and listen to your mind and see what do you want to do that is distracting you, that logically you shouldn't be doing, and look at what it is and see if it's around, see if it's on your reach. Try and get rid of it. Like if it's your phone that is distracting you, for example, don't leave it next to me, like here. Don't even put it around you. Just bring it somewhere, throw it away, even get rid of it if you're really serious. Or if you really need it, put it somewhere that you don't even see it when you are working, or when you are doing something that eventually is going to bring you towards your goal. So the way of focusing is getting rid of all the distractions that is getting you away from focusing to this thing. And you will see that if you do this, you are going to start becoming so focused and productive. Now, another thing that I've learned is discipline. Okay, in the beginning of my years of entrepreneurship, it was more about like, hustle. I need to hustle hard. I was literally working 16 hours, learning, watching videos and whatnot. And what I have learned, throughout this year, is that what I need is discipline, not motivation, because you will never always be motivated. You need to learn how to be disciplined. It's just as when you pray your 5 prayers. There's going to be days where you are just tired. You get home. Didn't it happen to you guys when you get home, for example, and it's after Isha, right? And you so. Hey guys, sorry, my audio cut, but what I was about to say here, it was that you see when you get home and you tired and you get in the bed and you remember you haven't prayed Isha yet, and you get up to pray Isha. That's what discipline is. Now, what motivation would be is that you have listened to a khutbah talking about making your prayers at time, and you go ahead and you go and pray basically. But if it happened that you didn't listen to that khutbah, you wouldn't go and pray. So when you go because of discipline, it's different than going because of motivation. So this is why we shouldn't focus on this trend hustle. You need to hustle hard. You need to look for the bread and whatnot. Like that's right, but at a times, sometimes you need to hustle really hard, and most of the times you need to discipline. So you'll never always be motivated. You need to learn how to be disciplined. So whenever there's no motivation, you keep doing it. So you do things logically, not uh not emotionally. If you guys understand what I'm saying. So the conclusion of all of this is that the riches, they start with a state of mind. Like, not only riches, but just being successful at anything, it will start with your mindset. It will start with your way of thinking and your way of behaving, or your way of behaving is what is going to uh push you to the way how you behave and how you act, basically, and it's going to keep you moving. And when it comes to mindset, even quote unquote big people or successful people in other fields, like for example, LeBron James, he have mindset coaches that helps him to stay disciplined instead of motivated, and that's what makes a person different than other people, and what makes someone successful, basically. So that is one of the main things that I take away from this, whole year of business and making 40,000. Now, the thing that I have learned as well is that one of the main businesses and the easiest ones to start, and the ones that you can make the most money from it, is info products, selling info products online, or selling information, if you want to call it like that. Now, the business of selling information is one of the biggest businesses nowadays that you can start with barely no money and scale it to multiple six, seven, eight figures, uh, online, basically. And that would be something like an info product, like a online program with some kind of information inside that helps you achieve some kind of results, or coaching, or e-learning. Now, there is one funny thing about this whole world, is that a lot of people, they don't like this type of business, and they look at it, and people who is in it, like they are scammers, or they are charging too much or whatnot. Now, when it comes to charging too much or whatnot, that comes more to the brand of the person. Like, as long as it's his brand, he can charge whatever he wants. Uh, but when it comes to the credibility of the business, that's literally a real business. So this is how it would work. We will find for people who wants to get from point A to point B. Now, in this example, we have someone who wants to get to point B, which is having a better physique than the one he has right now at the moment. So what we would do is we would be in the middle, and we would do the service of getting all of the information that is out there into one thing, onto one digital product, in this case, or info product. It could be an ebook, could be an online program, videos, whatever. But now the only thing we need to find is the way how to sell and how to reach that people who is interested in that particular result, which is getting a better physique. Now, the only thing that we need to learn for this is obviously to find people is easy. Like, online, we can find people, whatever people whoever we want, basically, through paid traffic, and even free traffic, like groups and stuff like this. But online online sales and marketing is a skill that you will never regret if you learn, because that basically allows you to sell anything online. Like, you are able, if you know about sales and marketing, to literally market and sell anything online and find those people who are in need of that product and sell it to them. Now the way we do this, and we already said it, but is by finding the product first. I mean, finding the people who needs it first, and then the product. So we find the people, we look what problem do they have, and then we find the product, or we create a product that can fix that problem for them. This is how basically you make money through info products online. Now the process is very simple. You just find the people, like we said, see what problem they have, find a product to fix their problem, and sell it to them. Okay, we don't find a product for the people, but we find the people for the, we don't find people for the product, we find the product for the people, and we sell it to them, if that makes sense. Okay, so the third thing that I'm taking away from this year making $40,000 is the importance of knowledge. Like, is a requirement basically. And you can see as well that from the Sunnah, from our scholars, this has been taught to us as well. Like when, for example, in the matan of Usul al-Thalatha Imam Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab rahimahullah, you see that that the first thing he says, for example, he says i'lam rahimakallah, which is know. Then as well, the first word reviewed in the Quran was iqra, which is read. And as well, the Imam al-Bukhari, he has a chapter in his book of ahadith that says babul ilmi qabla al-qawli wal-amal, the chapter of knowledge. Wal-amal, like the chapter of having knowledge before talking, or before the word and before the action. Like before you do something, and before you act upon something, or before you talk about something, is having knowledge about it. So it's literally, like I'm saying, guys, like when you understand life, you can be successful at anything. So if you understand that, for example, you don't start a business. Like sometimes I walk in the streets and I see new stores around my area, around my road, and I look at it and I think, who is going to buy this product? Like, did they even do market research to come up with this product? Like, obviously I didn't do market research, I don't know, but logically nobody is going to buy this, or a little few people is going to buy this. So what I'm trying to say is that first you have the knowledge about what you are going to offer. First you find a problem that people has, and then you go ahead and find for a product that can fix that problem basically. So one thing is, the more you learn, the more you earn. Okay, the more books I've read this year, the more I have learned. Like, it's just math. Like, the more you learn, the more you earn. And I'm not saying the more you read, the more you earn, but the more you learn, the more you earn. Okay, so another thing is, and we're gonna finish by this, guys, how to be successful. How to be a successful Muslimpreneur. The first thing is master a relevant skill. Okay, master a relevant skill. It might be, nutrition. It might be you're a very good psychologist. You are a very good you know how to do online marketing, you know how to code, you know how to lift weights, you know how to do calligraphy, you know how to even the smallest thing, you know how to cook, for example. But something that you are really good at, or you are passionate about, okay? And it would, even if you don't have a skill set, it would even be worth it for you to learn a skill. Okay, now once you have learned a skill, get study cases. Okay, work for people for free and get study cases, get a digital portfolio. Okay, now third thing is make yourself visible to the public. Okay, so for example, let's say examples as being very good at cooking, or being very good at doing cakes or something like this, or making pictures, okay, of weddings or whatever. Go somewhere and do it for free for people, and take this work that you have done and put it and make it visible on to the public. So on digital platforms like your Instagram or something. Then start networking, start looking for people that might need your help, and they might even be ready to pay you. And now build friendships and relationships, and this is how you will never be broke when you do these things, basically. Okay, so this is how you're going to be a successful Muslimpreneur. All right, guys. So so that's pretty much everything that I wanted to say. I'm sorry that it was a long video, but I think it's really important to learn from people's mistakes and to learn from what people have accomplished, and see where you can maybe not mess up because you already been told that that person messed up in that place. So these are the main three things that I have learned from this year: mindset, the business model of info products being one of the best ones, and learning and reading just knowledge in general, not only in Islam but as well in anything that you want to accomplish in life. In this case, business. All right, guys. So something that I would advise you guys is get my ebook that I wrote. It's called The Top 3 Businesses That Don't Require Money to Start. It's the main 3 businesses that I have used this last year to generate $40,000. So you can get it from the link in the description below. It's a free ebook. So yeah, guys, this is pretty much it for today. Hopefully you guys liked it. Leave me a comment to see if you want to know about something else, or you want me to answer any of your questions. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and I'll see you guys on the next video.